Welcome to another episode of Anime Podcasters. Today, in this episode, we're going to be talking about Castlevania with your host, myself, Murel Koval, and Jaian Music. How are you, Jaian?
Yo, I'm very good. I'm very happy to be back with you, Murel. This is a topic that I've been dying to do, and it's so good to be with you right now. We're obviously gingerless today, which is unfortunate, but okay. We're going to give a Hotshot a bit of a break because he's been on a hot streak of episodes, but we're stopping him dead in his Dracula tracks. Today, we are talking about one of the most epic Netflix animes out there. In my opinion, like one of the best ones just in general, and it's Castlevania. 4 seasons, epic battles, epic characters, and we're going to break it all down. Let's start at the very beginning, Murel. Literally, when I mean the beginning, I mean, how did you hear about Castlevania, and what were your first impressions of this series?
Well, I first heard about the series from you. You hyped it up, and you wanted to do a episode on it. So I'm like, okay, yes. I'm gonna go and watch all of it. And yeah, the first season was pretty short, right?
It's 4 episodes.
Yeah, only 4 episodes. Not bad for a season, I guess.
Right.
But still, it was pretty good all throughout. A great storyline coming from a filmmaking, story writing background. It was really captivating. And it's not
100%.
Yes. And it's it really dives into a kind of a Witcher kind of style. Mm-hmm. And it's not like everything nowadays is all futuristic. Oh, this happens in the year 30,000, 40,000, or 50 years down the line, or 100, or what, right?
Right.
This happens way, way, way in the past where, yeah, we might not have any reassurance of what actually happened in the past, right? But it's fun to speculate and write stories of what might have happened. Because who knows?
Absolutely.
We could have had vampires, magic, and stuff way back then, and all probably disappeared, and or because of all that all the technology of the time, science and stuff like that, because people are just starting to figure out science, right? Medicine. Mm-hmm. And that could have been the magic could have been the basis of science. And then people without magical abilities could have said, oh, well, we can do something better and try to basically make it look like we are doing magic, but we don't have any of these abilities. So then that kind of stuff just kind of died off. But that's just coming from my point of view.
I see what you mean. Definitely.
Storytelling kind of point of view.
Right. You really touched on the point of season 1 for me, specifically with Lisa Tepes, Dracula's wife, who is unfortunately... Okay, spoilers abound. By the way, all 4 seasons, if you listen to another second, we will spoil everything about this. So I'm just putting the spoiler warning right now. When she gets burned at the stake for her quote-unquote witchcraft, because obviously the bishop, this clergyman who orders for her burning believes that she's a witch and everything. But this is literally to help humanity, to heal people, and it's Dracula's one human connection. And this really triggers everything. Season 1 triggers everything in the fallout of season 2, where he absolutely wants to destroy the entire human race because of what the one bishop and the clergyman decide to do with Lisa Tepes, which is a horrible fate for her. And she, even on her last breath, she warns them. She says, don't do this. There's going to be consequences, and they didn't listen. And obviously the consequences came 1 year later. To me, this series, it's adventurous, it's action-packed, it's dark, it's dramatic, and with the creatures and the humans, it's very horror-based. It's a very good mix of all these different genres and styles, and obviously it's a very mature show. I mean, the battles here are nothing to scoff at, but I think we can maybe start with my first jumping point here. Trevor is a main character, and he really is the flagship character of the series, in my opinion, and he grows a lot throughout the series. We see him as a drunk at a bar, and he really develops. What were your thoughts on his growth as he faced each foe one at a time throughout the series, season 1 through 4?
All right, so Trevor as a point of interest of the whole story, right? he is
Mhm.
technically the main character, correct? Because
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
technically in the first season, yeah, he was the main character, but then he becomes like one of two other, three main characters, right?
We will get to them,
The main three. But we're talking about Trevor in general. He, from season 1 to season 4, it's just a normal hero arc throughout the whole thing. A guy who has like a hero background or a family of heroes who were there at some point, right? Not anymore. And he's the last one. And he's down in his luck. He's going from bar to bar, drinking and doing whatever else that a hero does in his time of need. Right? Actually, like going from that role to a role that he wanted to be at when he was like a kid. He wanted to be like the hero like the rest of his family. Right? He wanted, like, he basically just wanted to not be who he was at that point of when we saw him in season 1 at the bar. He didn't want to be there, but he basically was there because of the way that his family treated him, right?
I mean, he's the last remaining member of the Belmont clan, you know?
Yes.
It's a clan that dedicated their lives to destroying darkness and creatures and vampires specifically. And so I feel like him as a character was the ultimate opposing force to Dracula. And we see that in like one of the first battles ever where these monsters attack a city in the second season. It was the first. It was the first. And Trevor's there and he's able to rally the troops together and get, someone to bless the water so that they can make it holy water to fight and everything. And it was during the whole meeting the speakers struggle. I really thought that him as a character, he just became better and better and better and better. And like as he grows also with Sypha is how you pronounce it. I feel like their bond is a beautiful one that becomes a huge force to defeat monsters as they go. Obviously Sypha being one of the main protagonists. I loved the bond between her and Trevor. What were your thoughts on Sypha? I'm actually really curious.
Sypha, for me, I really love anything dealing with magic based things.
Oh, okay.
I love anything magic. I used to do card tricks when I was a kid and stuff.
Right. So Sypha is like right up your alley.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And Sypha and Trevor as like a duo. Right? That is a good combination there because he's a guy who cannot do it, but he has like a weapon that can basically do some sort of magic kind of thing, right?
Oh, what was the name of his weapon? I know what you're talking about. Talking about, yeah.
Yes. And also plus when you think of it is that like he saved her, right? He saved her. So she's basically almost like if you put in your thoughts like a debt, a life debt, right? Mm-hmm. But also, plus, when you think of it, when is that life debt gonna like go away?
I see what you mean. By the way, Morning Star was the name of the weapon. The Morning Star, it was the weapon that Trevor uses. That he acquires in the library and everything. But yeah, continue.
Yeah. But also, plus, if you put that life debt in there, but also, plus, like we also have to put into thought of the characters and their feelings towards each other, right? Mm-hmm. Because Trevor and Sypha do have something together, right? They do have something.
I mean, they're straight up lovers, like for sure.
Yes,
they are, and they're travel companions as well. In season 4 and season 3, you see them, go from town to town and everything, and face off. This is right before they split off from Dracula's son, which I'm trying to remember the name of right now.
Alucard.
It's Dracula backwards. Alucard. He was. How long was he in the tomb for? Like a year or something?
Yeah, he was.
That was such a funny scene to me when he like, oh, you must be your magical savior. He's like, how long you been down there? A year? Like 11 months? It's like, okay, not as epic as I thought it would be. You know what I mean?
It would have been fun if it was like, I was down there for 50 years.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know. For me, I loved Alucard. Alucard was a must-have in terms of building a force against Dracula in the first 2 seasons when Dracula's trying to obviously take over the world. And I remember in the second season when he and Dracula are fighting to the death, there was a sentence that he said to his father, like, this isn't an eradication or like a war. This has been the longest most drawn out like suicide note quote ever, because obviously Dracula was just slowly dying from the inside. He wasn't really being efficient at what he was trying to do by taking out the human race,
Yes.
And I think that Alucard really was the character with the biggest growth. Because, think about it. In the second season, you're taking out your own blood. And obviously, for the reasons that it is, meaning that, obviously Dracula was to take over, take out the entire human race. But opposing his father was such a strong emotional battle and physical one. As well as, I just remember when the castle crashes next to the library and Alucard is basically forced to look over it, in the season 3, he's on his own for a lot of that season, and he meets up with other characters that deceive him, and it was a whole other thing. I think it was Taka and Sumi, the vampire hunters from Japan.
Yes, I remember those.
Yeah, that was a whole other thing that the anime threw our way in season 3.
It looked weird.
The thing is, for me, for sure, Alucard, biggest growth as a character,
Yes.
So, that's kind of my initial thoughts on the main 3. The other people I wanted to touch on, I want to talk about also Hector and Isaac. Those two are very bizarre but interesting characters to me, for the fact of the matter that Dracula wants to take out the entire human race, and they're both humans, and they're both extremely loyal to him. Obviously, Hector is a whole other story because he ends up being a part of the coup with Carmilla, and that was a whole other thing. What were your thoughts on Hector and Isaac as the allies of Dracula, and then obviously they go on to do their own stuff in season 3?
Well, yeah, of course. They were a massive part, right? Because that's how Dracula originally got his army, from them just rising the dead.
Yes, very true, very true.
And they needed Hector, and they needed Isaac. Well, Hugo, whichever one.
No, Hector and Isaac.
Yeah, Hector and Isaac. They needed them both. And yeah, they were both humans. They were not vampires, but they were loyal to the cause. They were inducted into it, right? Inducted.
Right.
Which in a lot of stories, films, even video games, you don't really see any of.
No,
right?
not at all.
You never see, except for the odd indie game or indie film where the humans and the whatevers are teaming together and stuff like that. You never really see them working together, especially with a human who's very delicate and that can be killed easily.
Right.
Like a vampire, all that they have to do is go and suck more blood, stay out of the sun. That's it. For a human, oh look, there's in the sky. It's a big boulder. Oh, they're dead. Right.
But I mean, for me, I like to interject. I remember Hector as a character. The reason why he hates humans was because of his childhood.
Yeah, and that actually goes to one of my points. Of Hector and his past. He did hate humans. He'd rather be with the dead because he could bring
and reanimate them.
He could bring back animals and reanimate them because he
such a weird talent.
Yeah, it is such a weird talent.
Yeah,
but doing that enough automatically upped his power to where he could do that with people to then use for Dracula's army. But going back to his past and stuff, it's because he found a dead dog, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And it was other people who killed him. He saw it happen. He brought it back and everything else, and even his parents were like, "What the hell did you do? This is unnatural, blah blah blah," and all this other stuff, right?
Right.
And so he did base it on his own upbringing, and had his own bias against his own race, the human race,
right?
Because of those experiences of the animal dying, his parents, and so forth. Because we don't really know what happens in between him being a child and that happening to the point where he's at right now. We have no real idea or real clue of what happened. A friend that he made in whatever kind of school that they were in, right, could have died, and he brought him back, but then the whole community basically just had a big uproar or whatever, right? That could have been in the manga, but I'm not really sure because I haven't read the manga.
Right. Does this thing have a manga?
I think that they might have a manga. They might.
Let me look that up real quick.
Yes. I do know that they do have
Yeah, it
a
looks like they
video.
do.
They do have a video game, and you can get it on Steam. But it's like
Castlevania
very
Curse
old.
of Darkness comic. You know, there is 2 issues. I don't know how deep it goes and how similar it is to the animated series.
Well, the thing,
but I mean,
the thing is that do remember is that like if they try to like put a whole manga inside, even just like one season of one season, right? It would be a long season.
of course.
So like they obviously had to like bring it down, diet it down for the mainstream masses. Like like a random person just flipping onto Netflix and being like, oh, this looks cool. It's anime. Let's give it one season to see how it goes. Are they gonna click on it if they're like, oh, there's 50 episodes in one season? Or in the first season, oh, they only have 4 episodes. Might as well, because it's just like what? Maybe 2 to 4 hours of my time, right? Because in that one season, you can really captivate and hook people onto the storyline. So then in the later seasons, you can bring them back. So then you can get more viewership to actually then fund other stuff. Well, that's mainly what Netflix does, right? They bring people back because the more money they make from people watching seasons, the more that they can bring out for other like projects that they want to work on.
Right. No, I understand. Actually, Murel, I wanna like backtrack, and I kind of like I just realized something about Isaac. The more I'm thinking about him as a character.
All right.
He starts as an antagonist, you know, like he's definitely on Dracula's side.
Oh, yeah.
But later on, when Dracula is no more, well, at least goes to the other realm, he becomes a protagonist, you know, he takes on a whole new mission, you know.
He does.
What were your thoughts on his transition and a switch from antagonist to protagonist and all the battles and challenges that came with that? I mean, you could describe him as an anti-hero, but I really feel like he hates Carmilla. Carmilla betrays Dracula, and he's like, out of loyalty and pure loyalty to Dracula, because he was the most loyal to Dracula, he makes his own night horde and he just takes out Carmilla, and that was a whole fight. And I think that his transition as antagonist to protagonist, you can say some sort of anti-hero, but I don't feel like he was both at the same time. He was antagonist and then became a protagonist. I don't necessarily see him as an anti-hero. So like, what do you really think about his progression, and would you really label him as an anti-hero?
Yes, I would label him as an anti-hero, because normally for an anti-hero, right, you have to do some bad to do some good. Right?
Right, but I feel like there was a transition. There was a transition, Murel.
Yeah, but like during the transition, he was an antagonist because he had to kill people to make an army to defeat the big bad, right?
That is fair. That is
so
a fair
basically,
point. And the night
what you could
so
say
cool
is that he went from like you said, a antagonist to anti-hero to protagonist, right?
I really see it like, just because I really see a step-by-step thing. Like I see the loyalty to Dracula, which is 100% antagonist, and then I see the death of Dracula being the moment where he decides to become a protagonist and take out the enemy, which is Carmilla, because Carmilla replaces Dracula as the evil figurehead in season 3, you know?
Yeah, that is true. But like
so that's how I see it personally.
I'm looking at it from a character writing kind of standpoint, right? And it's just my point of view of how like what I do, how I see the character.
No, it's a fair point.
And we all have like a certain idea of how like to perceive a character. Like let's just say like you could say Batman was the antagonist and Joker was the protagonist, right? And it's all about your way of thinking. So the way I think of it, he basically hit all 3.
He does.
As an
I see 2 of the 3. I see 2 of the 3. Like I agree to disagree on this one, because for me, like there's a clear moment that's splits it off into a new thing, you know? So yes, you could label it as an anti-hero. I see the point, but I see him like one thing as one, like your past follows you. I don't know. You can argue both sides, but I feel like my point of view makes more sense to me at this point.
Yeah.
Murel,
I get it.
I do want to hit this character though. Like we have to talk about Carmilla, and we got to talk about this character is cunning, manipulative, absolutely heartless.
Oh yeah.
Plots the destruction of Dracula under his very eyes, betrays him at Brela, one of the most epic battles, like the scene of Dracula's army absolutely getting drowned and burned in that lake. Oh my god, the way she forces herself and gets Hector under her whim and everything. Like, she has so many things about her that make her a good antagonist. Definitely not a protagonist. What were your thoughts on Carmilla, man?
The way I see it is she was written so good.
Yes.
She was, well, one, like the base of her character was just like an it was all an inside job to her. And she had her own inner circle, dealing with all the other stuff by like making like a fake town with like its own army and stuff like that, right? For Dracula to attack. And it was just all an inside job. It played out really well, as we know.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
And she basically got a person who can literally bring people or animals from the flippin' dead, right?
I mean, she secures herself a huge bonus.
One-up, yes.
Yeah.
And like 100%. When you're making, and if you want to make a name of yourself, like inside, especially in this series, right?
Yeah.
You have to have like either like great power, or you need to have like strategy to be like like an inside job, like what Carmilla did, right? Basically, absolutely. And fight for the person that you want to destroy, make them trust you, so then you can stab them in the back, get some of their loot, and or get one or two or three other people that are very big power people, right, from their group, to be on your side, so then when you ultimately have you're able to make your own power regiment, right? You are able to basically dominate, and you won't be questioned.
No, you won't. You just won't. No, I see what you mean,
That's
Murel.
just from
I
my
absolutely
point of view.
Understand. No, definitely. And I think the next point I want to hop onto, because we're talking a lot about, the characters and everything, and the characters are always great jumping points, but this isn't even a point I wrote down. I just want to ask you, favorite fights, because the fights in this anime are insane. They're just crazy. The music, the action, Trevor. Like, what was your favorite fight out of the whole 4 seasons?
My favorite fight was what was it? Season 2, when the portal into the other realm, and we saw Dracula and his wife.
I think that's season 3.
That was season 3? Oh, God. All right. Season 3. Season 3, guys.
With Saint Germain. With Saint Germain, right?
Yeah, Saint Germain, yes.
Yeah. So, season 3.
It was that fight that basically I'm like, holy shit. For one, Trevor was out of his real power, right? Yeah. He was just a human fighting a literal demon god at that point.
Yeah.
But he still came out on top. He was able to beat the bad guy with everyone's help that was able to help at the time, right?
Yeah.
And they come out victorious.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to lie. Trevor has some very, very, very thick plot armor. That's the one thing. Like, this guy always figures out a way. He always like just gets what he needs to get done. You know what I mean? You very rarely see him like he wasn't ever defeated throughout the whole series. So to me, like, I understand the point here, but definitely a great fight for me. Literally, season 4, Trevor versus Death. Like, the final battle of season 4, seeing him with his weapon attacking this huge skull creature and just attacking. This thing's got a huge what is it, like a Reaper, those Reaper swords, and slicing rocks, and there's a tornado around. He's whacking him. He's falling all over the place. Rocks. He falls down. It's just one strike. You already see him like badly wounded with one strike of this enemy. And he doesn't stop. He charges. He's yelling. He's jumping around. He's evading. And he's just extremely efficient at taking out Death. The Morning Star is no joke of a weapon. And you can just see him, no matter what, just figuring out a way to just get through and attack. I love this fight. I mean, you know what I'm talking about here, right? Death versus Trevor with all the rocks crumbling and everything.
I do remember that. It's just like, I just don't remember the full fight. It's been that long.
No, I understand. It's totally fair. It's a huge fight, and it's just an epic fight, and I loved it. It was the one fight for me where I thought, does he have this? You know what I mean?
Yes. Well,
that
remember,
made me doubt.
Remember, it's Death versus a human. So
yeah. So he's the Grim Reaper, Death, and maybe to talk a little bit about Death here, man. basically, Death's whole goal here is to bring Dracula back from the dead, and he tricks Saint Germain in doing so by disguising himself as like Varney and the Alchemist. I'm reading this off the wiki right now, and once again, just another character, obviously immortal, super strong, super wise, can shapeshift. Of course he can. And for me, he was, brief, but so cool. He was so cool, and I loved him as a character. What were your thoughts on this, villain?
Well, from what I remember and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, a little god versus a human.
Yeah.
And Trevor with plot armor, of course, because, well, it is his story.
Massive.
Right?
Armor,
basically when you think of it, it's like this is badass because it's just good. It's great.
I know. I mean, there's only so much we can say about these. Yeah, no, I'm with you with on that, Murel, 100%. Let's jump to these other points. All right, we talked about favorite favorite monster for you. Which one was your favorite?
My favorite monster would be at the one at the very end and stuff, at the end of aisle 3 of series 3. That one
of season 3.
Yeah,
which one specifically?
The one at the Saint Julie one.
Oh, the one that's at the bottom of the church.
Yeah, at the bottom of the church. Yes,
I remember this. Yeah, that was a whole other creature. Oh man, what was that monster your favorite exactly?
It's because the monster could basically open a portal, right?
Right.
Well,
I remember.
Use a crystal to open a portal.
Right.
So when you think of it, this monster is already OP, but he got trapped by humans for some odd reason, right?
Yeah.
And they want to bring Dracula back. So the monster does end up overcoming that and basically escaping, bringing his own hell army, right? To destroy his captors.
Right.
But then when other people see him, they're like, "Oh, this is a big monster. Let's kill him."
Right.
Trevor and stuff, right? And I said before, that fight was badass because that actually showed us of what Trevor can actually do, right?
Yeah.
And with the very basic training that he got from his family, he's still able to do a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, who's your favorite monster and why?
I have a hard time choosing my favorite. I'm going to just say my least favorite because the thing is these monsters are so unique and destructive. I know there's one, and it's not even necessarily a monster. But it's a vampire. Godbrand. I hated Godbrand. Godbrand was just not cool to me. I just hated. He made me feel uncomfortable. He was a total pig. Big mouthed. And what was his interest or what? Raiding human villages, killing, drinking blood.
Oh yeah. Because the original the plan they wanted was to have all the humans kind of like livestock in a coop, right?
Exactly.
And
and
all
he was
he
what are we
wanted
supposed
to
to
do
eat after all the humans are dead? And then Dracula's like, well, we have pig blood. He's like, I'm sick of pig blood for XYZ reason.
Yeah, and all
I wasn't a fan at all of Godbrand personally.
Yeah, true. He was who he was, right? Basically, the way I looked at him, he was just, from a writing point of view, all right, was basically just comedy at that point. Because I was looking at...
I never laughed at Godbrand. I just thought it was one of the poor...
Yeah, I know, but the thing is that I laughed at him because no one took him seriously. Everyone had their own set point of what they wanted to do, right? So basically have humans in a town, aka a coop, right? To basically breed and them feed off them and then basically do it all over again, blah, 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 for many, 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 many centuries and stuff, right? But all that he wanted to do was just eat, pillage, and stuff like that, right? And and from a writing point of view, looking at from the vampires who wanted to just coop them up, basically I found it funny. Just my point of view, I found it funny. Call me a blood-sucking vampire, but I call it funny.
No, I understand. Let's do a quick spitfire round here with these last few points that we wanted to hit on. So these were some points that you wrote down, and we've been kind of going through mine. So I'm really curious to see what you want to talk about for these. So first of all, the real reason why Dracula started the war.
Well, yeah, but also plus just going back, we did hit on all of your points. very easily.
We definitely. Sorry, but go for it.
Yeah,
Go for
the
it.
real reason why Dracula actually started the war, we already covered that. It was mainly to like have like livestock kind of thing, right? So then
Exactly.
they can basically have it to where they will not like run out of food.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we're
And
doing
then-
nowadays, right? With our cattle and other stuff, right?
Right.
And like we're trying our best, but obviously like that will like obviously die off in the end, because like who knows how long these humans will be valuable for having their blood
In the
sucked
anime,
out, right?
I mean, you know, Dracula's whole plan goes against what like people like Godbrand wanted, you know. But the reason why Dracula wanted to start the war is because you burnt his wife, you know, and that set up everything. And he gave you a whole year, and he was pissed, and that was the whole thing we ran with. But another one of your points, and I don't even know the answer to this, Murel, I have to be honest. Why can't Trevor do magic like some of his family? Is it because some of them are warriors and some of them are magician, like some sort of Namekian thing where some of them are healers and some of them are fighters? Is that it?
Yeah, basically it's just
Okay.
like there's like some people like he's literally said in his family, like there's some of them that were trained to use magic, and then there were some that were trained to be
Right.
warriors, and then there were some that were trained to be both. Sypha and Alucard basically said, what you can't do magic? What? Kind of thing, right? When they
Right.
were dealing with
Right.
the mirror. The mirror. Remember the mirror?
Yes.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you can't do magic? Why? Because like, well, there was other people in the family that could, right? And
Right,
so like
right.
that just makes him, well, one, more human.
Yep.
And that's basically what he also probably wanted to be, more human. Like and so like when you like when you look at it, right? Like literally it's just what's the word? Come on, vampire brain. Like he
stress.
just wanted to be like everyone else. He didn't want to be like his family. So that part of his brain that could have used magic didn't want to use any magic one bit, and didn't want to train or learn magic. So that part of his soul, his mind, his idea, and everything else basically just cut off, right?
No, I understand.
So
I
like
understand.
kind of like the idea where like let's just say you are trying to learn a new language like Spanish, right? And you are learning it, but you're just not getting it, right? So then you just fully
Right.
drop in and you don't want to learn it anymore, and your motivation is done. That's basically what happened. What could have happened to Trevor? Like his motivation trying to learn magic basically just died.
Right. No, I know what you mean. But to that point, there's also another thing that you posted. Does Alucard age like a human or not age like a vampire? I believe he doesn't age like a vampire.
Yeah, I know, but like the thing is that when you think of it, is that a vampire, right? They don't age. Yeah. Their cells just stay right where they are, right? And humans,
Yeah, but
their
I found something.
molecules. Yes.
Yeah. So he's immortal and he's stuck in his mid-20s. And there's a reference in the wiki saying, when Sypha mentions that Alucard must be in his teens, he responds that he aged faster than normal, but that this process stopped when he was physically in his mid-20s. So he's forever in his mid-20s and he's immortal. That's what his status is.
Okay. That's actually kind of odd, I guess, because
It's the Castlevania universe.
yeah, I know it's the Castlevania universe, but like I was mostly looking at like cellular regeneration, deteriation kind of thing. Because normally, like, if you have like a human hybrid of half human, half vampire, like, would he age but not die? So then, like, would he be all like wrinkles at the age of 800 and just flying around as a bat with wrinkles? Right.
No, I see what I see
Kind
what
of
you
like
mean, but I don't
idea,
think so.
but like obviously the wiki.
Not the case.
Thank you, wiki. Basically, just destroyed my topic point.
It's okay. The wiki has destroyed my topic many times. That's why we use the wiki.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in to this episode of Anime Podcasters. What were your final thoughts, Murel, in one sentence? What were your final thoughts on Castlevania?
My final thoughts on Castlevania is it's a very good story. You should definitely go watch it if you haven't, guys.
Well, I mean, if you've gone at this point of the podcast,
Yeah,
and you haven't seen it,
that
you're
is true.
spoiled.
You have to. Like, you've got to see it, but like, go watch it multiple times with multiple different viewings.
Re-binge
So, like,
and re-binge.
Yeah,
this anime.
re-binge and stuff like that. So like maybe one time re-binge from the protagonist point of view. re-binge another time from the antagonist point of view, and then re-binge again from like kind of like feeling like you're an outsider point of view.
All right, I think they get it, Murel. I think they got it.
Yeah. I think that they do. Yes.
Yeah. For myself, I mean, very solid series. So happy. We got to finally cover this on the podcast. When this came out a few years back, I saw the first season, loved it. Second season, loved it. And every time another season came out, I was on top of it. I was watching and loving, and it's just a really, really, really good series that I'm so happy we finally covered on Anime Podcasters. So let's do a final wrap up here. If you enjoy this episode of Anime Podcasters, you can follow us on social media at Anime Podcasters. You can leave us a 5-star review on ratethispodcast.com/anime podcasters, and you can leave us voicemails and take a survey. All those links are in the description. The artwork for the podcast is provided by GoProKyo. Go give him a follow on Twitter at GoProKyo. All of his links are in the description. Also, go check out Hotshot on Twitch. You can follow me at Jaian Music on social media, and my website is jaianmusic.com. I've also covered Bloody Tears from Castlevania on my YouTube channel and on my Spotify, which is on its way to 2 million streams. So please go stream some of my music over there. Really appreciate all of your support over there, guys. And where can people find you, Murel?
People can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, of all places. Tinder. No, not Tinder.
Oh my God.
But you can find me on basically anything like YouTube. I'm going to be probably starting up a Twitch soon as well, but not really sure yet.
Do it.
Yeah, if I have time. You know how my schedule's like, right?
I know. Yeah, I do.
But like you can just find everything in the description below. So
perfect. Yeah. All right. So for myself and Murel, this has been another episode of
Anime Podcasters.
Bye, guys.
See ya.